This is always a bad sign when you go into a neighborhood of troubles ahead. What is going on, everybody? Lamont at large. Today we're in Sparks, Nevada, and right in front of you is the Nugget Hotel and Casino. It looks like they're in the process of painting it, and let me tell you, it is in desperate need of paint, so it's going to look a lot better when they're done with it. Now, today we're going to talk about a murder that occurred at this casino involving two rival motorcycle clubs, the Vagos and the Hells Angels. Remember, kids, when we wear a bag, we're in a bad neighborhood. Right behind you, a murder occurred of one man, 51-year-old Jeffrey Pedig. Now, by day, Jeffrey was a very hard-working man. He worked for the city of San Jose. He worked for the DOT. He was a heavy equipment operator. Now, when it was time to get off of work, he took off his work vest and he put on another. And that vest said the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club with the California bottom rocker with the iconic death head logo centered right in the middle. He was the president of the San Jose chapter of the Hells Angels. We're gonna go back in time to the weekend of September 24th of 2011. Now, Reno is holding street vibrations, and you literally have tens of thousands of motorcyclists thundering through Reno, Nevada. Sparks is right next door to Reno. I don't even know where it starts and ends. And most motorcyclists, I guess you would call them weekend warriors. They ride a motorcycle when they're off of work, for leisure, for fun, what have you. And some guys, they ride a motorcycle, that's their main mode of transportation. Let's not forget, motorcycles are cheap on gas, some of them, most of them, and cheap on insurance. Most of the time. However, as the man says, the law, whatever you want to call him, you got some bad apples. Most motorcycle enthusiasts are good people, they say, except for the 1%. The 1%, those guys are, I guess what you would say, I guess Hillary would call them deplorables or something like that. And so you had many motorcycle clubs coming through the Reno Sparks area. And two of those clubs that were coming through Sparks were the members of the Hells Angels and their rivals, the Vagos. Now, on September 24th of 2011, Jeffrey Pedig came to the Nugget to have a good time. So he comes with his buddies, and they come here, maybe they're drinking, maybe they're gambling, whatever, but they're flying their colors. And as they're at the bar, I think at the time it was called Tricky Dicks, but now they changed it to Game On. So all of a sudden, a couple of rival members of the Vagos Motorcycle Club, they spot Jeffrey by that bar. And one of them, his name was Gary Rudnick. At the time, he was the vice president of the Los Angeles chapter of the Vagos. Now, if you guys don't know, motorcycle clubs, when you're wearing that bottom rocker representing that state, well, that's major to me, because you're claiming that territory as your own, and Vagos are claiming California, Mongols are claiming California, and the Hells Angels, they're claiming California. So when Rudnick sees Pedig, or Pedig sees Rudnick, however that went, of course you're going to exchange some words, because you guys are rivals. And just like any club, gang, or organization, if you see somebody that is your rival, your op, as some kids say, the fists are going to start flying. Now, it's murky. The area is gray on what actually happened, who actually started the fight, whether it was Rudnick or Pedig. But all of a sudden, they start fighting, and there's chaos everywhere. People are gambling. They're looking. They're like, what the hell is going on over here? Big old fight. Now, one of the members of the Vagos, reportedly, they get hit either with a fist or something. I don't know. So they fall down. They're on the ground, and one or two of the Hells Angels members, they start stomping and kicking on the guy while he's on the ground. So one guy, Ernesto Gonzalez, he's a member of the Vagos. He's an international chapter president. I think he might be the president of the Nicaragua chapter. Don't quote me on that. But he definitely is a Vagos member. He pulls out his gun and he shoots Jeffrey Pettigrew. And everyone is screaming and scattering everyone. Shots fired. And then a member of the Hells Angels attacks a couple of the Vagos, and they get injured, and all chaos is breaking loose right at this Nugget Casino. So by the time everybody clears out, you got a couple of Vagos members on the ground suffering from injuries, and you got one Jeffrey Pettigrew, the president of the San Jose chapter of the Hells Angels, suffering from several gunshot wounds. And they would later take him to the nearest hospital where he was pronounced dead. Now, you got what looks like self-defense, or it looks like a murder. It depends on who you believe. You have several members of the Vagos Motorcycle Club who are eventually arrested for this crime. Two of them, Ernesto Gonzalez, the alleged shooter, and then you have Gary Rudnick, who appears to have been the one that started the altercation. Now, they're facing a lot of time in prison. Gary's facing 25 years, and Ernesto, he's facing life. And Gary, I don't know him. I don't know if he's married or he has kids, but he doesn't want to spend the next 25 years in prison for the Vagos Motorcycle Club. So he decides to turn snitch and testify against the other members, in particular Ernesto Gonzalez of the Vagos Motorcycle Club. Now, depending on who you believe, I'm not too sure. But Gary, he testifies that this was a planned execution. That the Vagos members, they knew that Jeffrey was going to be at the Nugget Casino, and this was, in fact, a targeted attack. Now, of course, I'm assuming that Ernesto is denying that this ever took place, and his side of the argument is, well, this is nothing but self-defense. The Hells Angels, they were kicking the crap out of my friend, and I thought he was going to die, so I had to pull out my gun and shoot them. So the jury in the matter, they believed Gary Rudnick's version of events. Now, he testifies, and he is the star witness of the prosecution and basically helps in putting Ernesto Gonzalez away for the rest of his life. Now, Gary goes up for sentencing. Now, he claims that the deal that he had with prosecutors was that he would testify, and in exchange, he would get probation and get a free ticket to the witness protection program, because all the other Vago members, they're not going to take too kindly to him being a rat. However, he's sentenced to 2 years in prison. And then later on, he comes back to recant his confession. He says that the prosecutors basically bullied him into saying that this was a targeted attack, when in actuality it was not a targeted attack, and that everything that he said on the witness stand is an outright lie. Now, prosecutors do not believe that this is the case. They believe, and this is what they believe that this in fact was an assassination, an execution, and this murder was planned, and that Gary Rudnick basically told the truth on the witness stand. Now, many Vagos members were tried for different crimes. Eventually, Ernesto had to be tried a second time because the first trial, it ended in the charges either being reversed or whatever because of something to do with the jury not being able to follow simple instructions, right? That's the story in a nutshell. A planned hit or self-defense. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know if you believe the redneck character or you believe Ernesto Gonzalez and him saying that he was simply defending his friend. There is a part 2 to this story because it just doesn't end here. With war, oftentimes it never ends. I will see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you on the next one. Have a good one. Peace out.